What's going on, everybody? We're here for episode number 12 of the Real Bodybuilding Podcast. Here with my man, Sergio Oliva Jr., and I was excited to bring him on because I know he's a very opinionated individual, and we haven't seen him in a little while this year. So I was excited to see what he's up to and some of his opinions on some of the things that are going on in the industry as of late. So welcome, Sergio. Let me say what's up.
What's up, guys? Thanks, Fouad. Appreciate it.
I kind of want to get right into it, but I want to just touch on a couple things because from seeing you on Instagram, I kind of don't know, like, where are you living right now? Where are you at?
I left LA and I moved to San Diego.
Oh, I like San Diego. San Diego's nice.
Yeah, it's the best. And I needed to get away from LA life and all those distractions and shit like that. But even just the gym alone is the best gym in the West Coast for sure.
Isn't see, people are probably confused because wouldn't you think that being in LA would help you as far as the gym goes?
Yeah, you would think, right? And I just said that my whole life when I was an amateur, that, man, if I can win my pro card, I'm just going to pick up and leave and go to the Golds, the Mecca. And I did. And it probably was a little mistake in the beginning because I literally just drove out there with no income like an idiot. But, New York worked out and I got to train with Sean, and I was training with Dex and stuff like that. But it just, I started to realize that gym is it's not more. And for a while there, Sean was living in Santa Barbara, which is really far from LA. And Dex, he's in Jacksonville, and so he's getting ready for the Olympia. So again, I'm just still the best pro in a gym. And it's just kind of got some really good pictures on the wall for motivation. There's not anyone there that's like, I don't know, life-changing or any reason to be there. I would say this, all the negatives outweigh any of the positives.
So you wanted to go there to feed off the other guys, like the guys that were better than you or on your level at least.
Yeah, especially better. I love the feeling of feeling like shit. Like that's when I train my best and I do my best. And I feel like that's how all real good bodybuilders are. Anyone who's like wanting to be the best guy in the gym and always, just loving that kind of attention and dick sucking, they usually don't do well. I want to constantly feel like I could be doing better, and I want to see people that make my stomach hurt and make me realize whatever I'm doing is not good enough.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't like that there anymore. It's not the 90s Mecca.
Yeah. But I agree with you. It's I don't think everybody, I don't know if I can make a blanket statement and say everybody's like that, because you got guys like, Dorian Yates trained by himself. You know what I mean? I guess he didn't really need to feed off anybody, but for the most part, I think you're right. Like, I'm the same way. Like, I want to be around guys who are going to kick the shit out of me.
Right.
So you train with people who are better than you, you get better. So I can understand that. So you moved to San Diego. Is there people there that are kicking your ass or what?
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, just the gym alone, just the equipment and just the atmosphere. It used to be called World Gym. They just recently changed the name of the gym to The Gym. That's why it's kind of confusing when people say it's The Gym. But so just the gym alone, I could probably train there by myself and be 100 times better than I was training with anybody in Golds. But what's a really cool little thing about San Diego is my not a rival, because we just went against each other at nationals, and he kind of almost beat me at USA's, and then I beat him at nationals. Eddie Bracamane, that's his home gym. So me being able to train with him, it's been some of the best lifts.
Well, he trains hard too, so.
Yeah, and just, man, like I like to train hard, like Branch Warren, Dorian type, but still at the same time really form oriented, and I really try and break down the body, and I'm trying to really get on more, like I said, form than moving ridiculous weight. So he's kind of the best of both. He's a monster for sure, but man, he's really intelligent, and he's really methodical about how he goes about things. And it's really hard. I mean, it's really hard to find a workout partner. It's really hard with jealousy and even just commitment and people being reliable. So me being able to be with someone where not only is he helping me, but I can give suggestions, and it's just wanted rather than just a negative kind of effect.
Yeah, no, when you can find somebody who meshes with you physically is one thing, but emotionally is another, because you're right. There's a lot of things that go into it. This guy's jealous of you. This guy doesn't want you to do so well, or he can't keep up physically, or he misses the gym because he got some previous fucking thing. It's like, yeah, no, that's why I've been training with the same guy for 15 years, man. Because for that exact reason, he just gets it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and I can't even explain it. People ask like, well, what makes a good partner? I can't even explain it. He just gets it. He knows,
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly.
he knows when my set is done. He knows when I got more in the tank. You know, like they just know, you know what I mean? So, okay. So
Yeah, a spot is a big deal for me.
what was, I wanted to ask you, you touched on something real quick and you skipped over it. What were the negatives about LA that, cause I can't, you know how it is when you're outside the scene, you don't really know. So living all the way in Canada, what are the negatives of LA that make you want to leave?
Well, the main one was that was the area that I was with my ex-wife.
Okay.
So just bad memories of just even living in LA. But I mean, it's a party area, and even the bodybuilders that are, you know, decent, they still want to go have a non-bodybuilding life, and that's just not me. And it's usually was just me by myself, and there is a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate at Golds. It's really hard for people to be, you know, a pro for 10 years and then some guy walks in and now all of a sudden I'm winning the third best show in the world. It's just going to make people act a certain way. And then me, I got caught up in a lot of other people's drama. I don't think, except for my ex-wife and shit, that I put myself into. I made those decisions. Otherwise, everyone's drama is always someone else's. I don't really get involved with shit, you know. So a while ago, like I was saying, I was training with Sean, I was training with Dex, and then this whole Psycho Fitness thing came about, where a lot of people don't know. Psycho used to work for Charles. I used to train with Psycho, Sean, and Charles together. I wasn't training with Charles per se. I was just training with Sean. You know, it was, long story short, I was really down one day, and I was really thinking that I made a mistake of moving out there like I did, and Sean just kind of took me under his wing and was like, hey man, if you show up at 2:00 every day, you can train with me. So I was kind of training with Sean, and then they had a falling out with Charles. And I think when I chose to go then train with Sean and Psycho, or, you know, Dex and Psycho, it kind of just put this bad vibe, and I ended up getting caught in other people's drama and bullshit that I ended up at the end just training by myself for New York. And I kind of distanced myself from all of it. And I met a guy named Kirk who's been there forever. He started training me a little bit for last year's Tampa and Chicago, and the Olympia. But other than that, man, I just was by myself.
So you just needed a fresh start. You needed to get out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What was, how long were you married for?
3 years.
Do you mind me asking what happened?
She was having an affair with another married man in Australia when I was dealing with visa shit to try and get her here.
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, it could be way worse. And thank God it never happened here, because I mean, look at the shit that's going on in the sport now, man. And I have a temper, you know, and I feel like, man, if something had happened here and I lost my temper, I could be the one locked up, and that would be the end of my career.
You might have, you might have gone off a little bit.
Just a tad. So, you know, or I could have had a kid with her. You know, there's just, I'm able to now recognize how much worse things could have been. And luckily, I mean, I talked about this in a post I made. The only reason I even made it through it is actually because of the wife of the guy who she was cheating on me with, is the one that got me through last year.
How'd that happen?
She actually messaged me on Facebook, and because only old people use Facebook, I didn't even see the message for like a long time, that I thought it was actually just a joke. And I messaged her back, and she was telling me that she was 7 months pregnant at the time with this guy's kid, and he had ran off with my wife and left her pregnant. And and I think because immediately I was like, I'm done. You know, I'm not gonna quit bodybuilding, but I was gonna take the year off. I just wasn't eating, and I wasn't doing well. And man, this girl called me up fucking every day, like, yo, you need to fucking man the fuck up. And if I can do this baby on my own, then you can do a show. And I remember, and I told her, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do Chicago, and that's it. I'm just gonna do it just so I can, you know, just say I did something. And then when I got second, and I really could have won, because man, I was just dealing with, I mean, it's hard to explain to people cortisol levels and just all the things that don't have actual like numbers that you can track for getting ready for shows. But the fact that I even got second while I'm literally going through a depression means I would have looked insane if I wasn't. So I think I was just like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna do Tampa. And then I was just really, and it was really her that was saying that if you can go through this and now get something or do something you didn't do when you were with her, like the Olympia.
Yeah.
That shows that, man, once I can get over all this, I can, sky's the limit. And
That's
I
right.
actually just kind of even did that prep for her and that kid. And, we had, it was really cool, and she's like one of my best friends now. And I'm so glad that I gained her and this kid. The kid's amazing too. The guy's a fucking
So you guys kind of like use each other as a support system, kind of get through it.
Yeah, 100%, literally.
That's pretty cool. So
I couldn't talk to anybody about it.
Yeah, I mean, who would understand better than her, right?
Right, exactly.
And it kind of makes your problem seem, I mean, as bodybuilders, we think the world is going to end if our prep's not going well or something's not going well. It kind of makes your problem seem not as bad if she's got a kid to deal with too.
Right.
So you're like,
exactly.
if she can do that, I can probably get ready for a show. So, but
yeah, what am I going to say to her? Like, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's right. It's true though. It's like, I don't think people get it, man. When we're getting ready for shows, they don't understand that your personal, all they see is the stuff we're putting on Instagram. So they see, oh, his progress pictures look good. Oh, he's doing his cardio. Oh, he's eating his meals, blah, blah, blah. They don't see he got in a fight with his wife or his wife left him or whatever. Like, they don't know any of the backstory shit that might throw you off. And then at the end, they say, well, why didn't he look at 100%? He's a pro. He should be 100% all the time. But they don't understand that there's like life gets in the way for us, just like it does for them. You know what I mean? Like there's other things, other factors at play. So it's important, I think, to get these kind of stories out there so people know that, we're dealing with more than just X's and O's. We have some other shit going on that we have to tend to,
Yeah, I used to when I was younger, and I would always look at like my favorite bodybuilders and why didn't they make it? Why did they disappear or not ever? And it was always because they partied or whatever it was. And I always said, well, that's not going to be me. I'm never going to be the one prepping for a show, going to the clubs and shit like that. But I never realized it still is outside life. Like you said, it's my category was just different than those guys's. And mine is literally the woman that I choose to be with. That's always my downfall. Every time I'm trying to get ready for a show or something, it's always whoever I'm choosing to align myself with that usually is the problem.
So is this a constant theme for you?
Yeah.
No, I'm not like, listen, I'm not trying to make light of it.
No, I know you're not.
Listen, some of us kind of luck out and we like figure out what we want, and some of us got to go through like a little bit of shit first. So I'm just saying, like, is that where you're at? You kind of like still feeling them out, still trying to find who's the one you want to chill with?
Yeah. I this year I have this pact with myself that I'm going to do one show single.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do another show in a relationship. I've never done it before. And at this point, I'm at the point where I'm just going to see, if I've never done something before, I have to now try it out. Otherwise it's always going to be a what if I had just did one show.
Sorry to interrupt you. What show are you doing a show this year?
No, I'm not doing a show this year. I got screwed over by Gap.
Oh shit.
So
well,
that's the other thing. That's usually my biggest issue is sponsors. This is 4 years in a row I've been dropped.
Yeah.
Every year I get a sponsor who swears that I'm family and this and that, and I kill it. And I'm not one of these like money hungry guys that I won't do anything until you give me a raise, or sits down at expos and wears sunglasses when he talks to fans. I kill it. And I think that's why it kills me so much when every year I get the same shit about how there's not enough money or whatever it is and they need to drop me. So for it to happen again this year, it just kind of threw a wrench into me doing a show. But I was already contemplating wanting to do an off season, which I've never done. Yeah. I don't think anyone who is a fan of me knows I've never had an off season in my life. I'm always like, my life's falling apart, and then I barely get it together and hop on stage. New York was the most mess.
Yeah.
Ever.
Can I ask you, I got to tell you though, I've been obviously in the industry for a long time. I don't fucking believe anybody when they tell me I'm family. Unless my fucking brother starts a supplement company, I don't believe anybody when they tell me I'm family. Nobody. Because they're your family until you're expendable. And then you're not family anymore. And so I would have given you that advice a long time ago. Don't play emotion. I don't play emotional games, man. Like when it comes to signing contracts, I want to see the numbers. I want to see them on a piece of paper, and it's not emotional. I don't love you. You don't have to love me. It's just, this is my business. So like, for example, like I signed with a magazine company once, Muscle Mag back in the day. The guy who signed me was like, "Oh man, you're the greatest. We're family, blah, bullshit. And we're trying to work out the numbers of the contract. Like how many posts am I going to do, or not posts at the time. It was, how many photo shoots am I going to do for the year? Blah, blah, blah. Right. He's like, well, let's just say you'll do something between like 5 and 10. And I'm like, no. It's not like that. And you may think that's an asshole thing to do, like be a stickler, but if you're tired and you like, if you're wiped out, you don't want to do a photo shoot, or you're fat in the off season, you don't want to do a photo shoot, and they say, well, you said you would do up to 10. You've only done 7. I don't care that you're in the middle of your off season. You have to get in shape. So I'm really, really particular when it comes to contracts. I'm like, no, it's not between 5 and 10. It's 5 or 10. And what time of the year is it? When I'm ready for a show, I'm not doing off-season photo shoots. I'm not doing like all these things. That way I don't run into the emotional crap of like, oh, I thought we were family and you fucking, it happened to me once and it never happened to me again. I was like, I don't believe any of you. So it's a shitty thing that they do. It's a game they play, I think. And I'm not sure if they do it so they can get you for cheaper than they want. But I don't, if anybody listening out there, these guys that are coming up now, it's not that I feel like you should be a dick to your bosses or not go the extra mile. I just feel like don't get into like an emotional love fest with your employer, because at the end of the day, they're your employer. They're not your. They'll cut as soon as they run out of money, or as soon as you start doing poorly or whatever. You're gonna get cut. So.
Yeah, I know, man. I wish. And I can't say I wish I knew that, because I did know that. You know, I've seen my dad get screwed big time, and I just because I got my pro card in 2015 doesn't mean I wasn't some little kid running around at these expos my whole entire life. I've been in the sport my whole life, and I think because I've heard so many horror stories from sponsors, promoters, the non-athlete part, that I just always was like, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be like that. And I literally said that to the GAT CEO. He screwed me over because he's still bitching about how Rami didn't want to do something because of money. And I told him, I said, you are the reason why bodybuilders are the way they are, because now I have to be like that. And exactly like you said, I now have to make sure that everything is to a T, and there is no like, because with GAT, I was going to Australia for free, doing all these extra things. Like I reached my requirements, and I thought, you know what, if I just keep doing more, it's a for sure resign. And that's my fault. That's my fault for thinking that in this day and age, with all these ebooks and ambassadors and all these little kids who will literally suck their dicks for a discount code, some of them aren't even getting free subs. They just literally get a discount.
Yeah, I know.
And they're killing it for us. And I should know that. I should know that they can give 50 of them something and it makes up for what I'm doing. So it's my own fault. But now I get it. I get why some pros just, and I always used to say they do the bare minimum. And they're not doing the bare minimum.
It's not the bare minimum. It's not like, listen, man, people would say that about me. But I'm like, I've been fortunate enough that my contracts have been better than I am as a bodybuilder. Like I do better financially than I do on stage, but it's because I'm willing to work my ass off, but it's got to be on paper. Like I'm not going to go to Australia for free. And that guy who said that shit to you about Rami, that's a manipulation tactic. That's a tactic that a boss is using to show somebody, look, don't be like that guy. That guy is not good. Go the extra mile for us. So he's manipulating you from the very beginning. And that's not right. Rami was probably right. Rami was like, look, you want me to do this? You got to pay me.
Right.
Because it's not like, we're not even though we don't make the same amount of money, we're not any different than NFL guys or NBA guys, or, an NBA guy is not going to do a Buick commercial for free. He's going to send his agent. His agent's going to fucking figure out a dollar amount, and then he's going to go get paid. And I don't think we're any different. I think we try to be closer to the employer, thinking that they're trustworthy, and if they like us, they'll keep us on longer and we can build a real relationship. But more times than not, I've seen at the end of the day, it's a business, man. It's just a business. So
I kind of sometimes wish to, or I like to think that I can change things back to how they used to be. And that's my problem too, is that I, like you said, like just Muscle Mag alone, people don't even know what Muscle Mag is. Some of your listeners don't even know what that magazine is. The requirements and just the relationships back then were just so great. They were. And there was people that would be with one company their whole entire career. And I think I'm just so much old school in me that I keep thinking with an old school mind when it doesn't matter. I'm literally currently competing in the present day, and the past doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is, in the past, there was just us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just us. There wasn't ambassadors. There wasn't amateurs. There wasn't men's physique. There wasn't classic. There was, the company would go, they would find a bodybuilder that was doing well, and that bodybuilder would be their guy. It's like, that's our guy. He's our guy he's going to build, we're going to grow with that athlete. And now we're all expendable because it's kind of more cutthroat because there's so many people now vying for those contracts. And it's such a lucrative thing now. And there's so many ambassadors and so many that you really have to look out for yourself. Like, you know, you have to make sure everything's drawn out. Contracts are drawn out properly. Lawyers looked it over. Because look, man, SciTech, I was with SciTech, and I don't care. I'll put this out there. I had a clause in my contract that said they weren't supposed to use any of my shit after I was done with them. Right? They still have my face on their protein tubs. I'm not getting paid for that. Right? But that means, but I never looked over my contract properly. So if I want to take them to court, I got to go to Hungary and go to court in Hungary. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Because that's where they're located, right? So I tell people, when you're filling out your contract, make sure if there's ever a court case, it's somewhere you can fly to or drive to. So anyway, man, so what are you doing now for sponsorship? You looking for various companies, or what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just, that's the problem is, man, this happens to me. It's happened to me for the last 4 years in a row, but it's also happened to me the same exact time period. And this is the time period where the season's almost done. You know, companies already budgeted out what they want for the year, so that nobody picks anybody up during this time. So there isn't anybody. I've reached out to everybody that there is, and now I'm just kind of at this point where I'm okay. I'm not going to go backwards here. I'm back to working and stuff like that. But I'm just going to kill this next prep so bad that I just don't have to worry about it ever again in my life. But yeah, it's just, there's a bunch of things that have happened with sponsors that, like even so I was after New York, I was with Old School Labs. Nobody knew who they were. I think Brion was with them, but I think he had won New York Pro Classic. Yeah. That was the only thing he did. And I had told them that, in today's day, every supplement company is kind of the same. Some products are better, and, you have certain athletes that might be more attention grabbing, but at the end of the day, it's kind of the same. That what they should do is they should try and get like an old school movement and get a lot of the old school guys on the line, and I even told them that I would talk to Samir Banud, and at the time, Tom Plants was living with me. Some random occur of events, that Tom Plants is my roommate, which is really cool. And I forced Tom to go talk to them, and I told Samir to talk to him, and Tom didn't want to do it. These old school guys they don't fuck around with these people. And I vouched for them. I'm like, man, please, I think it'll be a really good opportunity for you. And I get them in all a meeting. Now look, Old School Labs has all these old school guys on the line. And then I get a call that because they're so expensive, they can't afford me. So I literally was my own demise with that brand. So it's just every year I have something where I want to be so mad, but it's still my fault.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I didn't know that was the story with Old School Labs. I think because I don't follow anybody that they have on their roster. I didn't even know if they were still around after you went off their team.
And so you can tell too that they don't.
So they're still around.
Yeah, they dropped Brion.
They drop Brion. So they just have a bunch of old school guys now. That's it.
That's it. And
they do well
on Amazon.
Huh.
Yeah, they have like, you know how it is, bro. You can literally look when Arnold was with Animal Farm. That bitch sold out, but because they were paying Arnold so much money,
it wasn't worth it.
They did themselves in.
Yeah.
But you're right. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You put someone's picture or someone, says that they took this. And you get all of the non-real bodybuilders. And unfortunately, today's day, and the same thing with Instagram, their numbers outweigh us by a lot. Yeah. So
I think part of it is I think part of it is our job. Like, okay, part of the reason I'm doing this podcast is because, and I've said this before, so those who watch the podcast, I'm sorry, but for you, Sergio, part of the reason I'm doing this podcast is because there are a lot of people on the fringe, like the Boston Lloyds and the fucking Tony Hughes and these guys who aren't bodybuilders, but because we're not speaking, they represent us, right?
Right.
And what they tell people is it's all steroids, supplements don't matter, blah, 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 bullshit. So I'm like, I got to bring these guys on because I think supplements do matter. And I do think there is a difference depending on sourcing and quality and dosing and all those things, right? So I do think there is a little bit of difference in some companies, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm bringing you on and I'm bringing other people on so people can listen to us and go, okay, it's not just they put an important face in front of that product. I feel like it's our job to kind of educate them a little bit. Look, these companies over here, they're just trying to make tons of fucking money. Their products really aren't that great. This company over here, their products probably cost a little bit more, but you get what you pay for. Like, I'm trying to tell people what the real shit is. And the real shit is I don't know about you, but I use supplements. Like I use my pre-workouts and I use my essential aminos and
of course,
that's it. So I don't want people to think that it's all bullshit. And I don't want people to think that it's all the same. But you're right. The main group outside of the bodybuilding circle doesn't know any better. So they just go for the most popular guy that they can find and they buy that stuff. But I think it's our job to like kind of inform people that, you know, you want to check the dosing, you want to see if you can find out where it's been sourced or third party tested or whatever, because, you know, you get what you pay for and that's what it's all about. So,
yeah, it's even worse now too. And you know when the industry died is when DJ Khaled and Birdman started getting bigger contracts. So to me, I would never use pro subs just for that fact alone.
Yeah.
Because not only are they taking jobs away from actual athletes, and not even any of that part, you actually think your consumers are so fucking stupid that because you put some wrapper on there, that has to do with what is going into their body.
Yeah.
And look, they dropped Sean for DJ Khaled. And he's literally obese. He's literally obese.
I don't think people are that stupid. I think people can clearly, even on the fringes, even like the main group you're talking about, like the major group that you're talking about, that's not definitely involved in bodybuilding. I think even them, they can see that company is just trying to get exposure. Like that's not a representative. Like you said, he's obese. He doesn't even work out. So people see through that shit. I think it's like, there's a certain line where people are like, okay, that's fucking bullshit. So, and I agree with you. I wouldn't buy that line either, just because of that fact. I'd be like, you just tried to bullshit me. Even if your products are good, I'm not going to buy your shit because you're trying to lie to me.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why me and you have kind of always clicked even from the beginning, because you're right. I feel like there's a small group of bodybuilders that are really serious, but at the same time, they're just normal people. Yeah. It's like, for some reason, it's really hard for people to do both. You can be a hardcore bodybuilder and this be your whole life, but then when you're outside of the gym, you can carry a conversation that's not about lifting weights or doing shows. So it's really good that you're doing this. And I try and do the same thing with my Instagram too. I tell people all the time, unfollow me. I don't care. I only want my fans to hear what I have to say. I don't care about followers. People don't understand the difference between a follower and a fan.
Yeah.
So, and you try and do, I always use the metaphor, the red pill, blue pill with the Matrix. And I feel like that's what it is in today's day. And if you look, a lot of the red pill people, they do stick together. We all have these relationships where, me and you, we're not hanging out all the time, but whenever I see you, it's like, man, I mean, I feel like you're just one of the good ones.
Yeah.
And it is dwindling a little bit, but I still feel like there's a big group of us like that just kind of want to know the truth and also what's real. And I think social media is kind of distorting that a lot. So I'm glad that you're doing this, because there is a bunch of us that don't want to listen to the Nick Strength YouTubes, and just to use him as an example.
I think those people have their like, okay, for example, Nick's muscle and strength or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. I think that's cool. That's like the Inside Edition or the TMZ.
Right, exactly.
But he's like, this is what happened this week. I think that's actually like a pretty good service. It's like, I think like RX Muscle is good. Like Dave kind of dives into certain things and his Q&A is really informative. But I feel like the only thing I don't like about our RX Muscle is that, and I know why he does it. He does it because it's entertaining. But the only thing I don't like about it is he gives a voice to the people that I feel like are actually bad for the sport.
Yeah, like having Buendia on there. Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like somebody said to me in one of my comments, they're like, get Tony Huge on. I'm like, that'll never fucking happen. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if I have one viewer. I don't give a fuck. That guy's not coming on my fucking show. Because that's the problem with bodybuilding. That guy is just trying to sell SARMs. Like if you watch his videos, I don't know if he's involved with the SARM company or it's his SARMs or whatever. He's just trying to fucking sell SARMs. He's like, because first of all, you would never stack all that gear and then take SARMs on top of it. You would. I don't know anybody who fucking does that. So I don't know. But listen, I want to change. I want to change gears a little bit because there's something I personally always wondered about. So I want to ask you. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword, of course, but so I feel like you have a lot of your dad's genetics. Like when I look at your body, your physique, your body parts, a lot of them, there's a lot of similarities.
Right.
So you received the gift of having good genetics. But I feel like even though you received that gift, is it a little bit of a curse always kind of being in that shadow?
Yeah, I say this all the time. Like, do people think that Flex Wheeler's dad didn't have good genetics, or Dexter's dad, or just all these things? They did.
Yeah,
their family just wasn't on stage, showing it. That's the
no,
only
but that's what I mean.
Dad's genetics.
Obviously, every great bodybuilder has great genetics. That's right. Obvious. But that's what I mean. That's the whole point of kind of what I'm trying to say is, do you ever feel like, fuck, I wish I could have just did this on my own, or are you just, it's cool with you?
Yeah, no, it used to bother me a lot. And I guess I didn't even realize that until after New York, when people would say I only got somewhere because of my dad, or I only won this, and I would get so mad, and I'm just like going off on them. Yeah. And I'm thinking, man, I'm telling them off and setting them straight. But really, in reality, I must have kind of believed it a little bit for it to have affected me that much. And I think really at the end of the day, anyone can win a pro card. So it wasn't until I won New York that I actually was able to chill and realize, I don't have anything to prove anymore. And even to myself, I can do this, and I am doing it. Chris Aceto said it perfectly, and this is the best way to describe it, and this is how it's unfortunately going to be for the rest of my career, forever. It doesn't matter. I could win 10 Olympiads. It's not going to matter. If I lose, everyone's like, oh, see, I told you he's never going to live up to his dad. He's not as good. He's blah, 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 blah. So they're like literally waiting. Yeah. But if I win, it's like this. Well, yeah, he's supposed to.
We expected it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm never going to win. If I lose, I'm never going to be living up to what I'm supposed to. And if I win, I should have already been winning, and I should have already won titles.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to laugh, but
it's true.
It's kind of like I feel bad for you, but I don't, because I feel like you were given a gift of the genetics, but it comes with see how life is fucked up? See how life is fucked up? You like they give you something, but they're like, there's some shit that you got to take with it.
And I think that goes with everything.
You don't ever get anything good for fucking free, right?
Nothing. Everything is too good to be true. It is. It's true. But yeah, I just, I'm also able, and I talked about it at the Olympia, and there is other positives to it, that I can do things no one's done. Just by me even just doing the Olympia, I made history, and I'm showing that this sport is living on, and no matter what, if people like me or not, you can hate my physique, I'm still walking proof that this sport is going to live on forever. I feel, and I think it's really cool. It was really cool for people to come up to me at the Olympia and say that they haven't been to a show since they saw my dad, or they were at the '84 Olympia when my dad helped me up, all Lion King likes, so that kind of shit is really cool. Like my mom being the only woman to have a husband and a son do Olympia. Yeah. That's just shit you can't write, but at the same time, it almost is a book. So I've been trying to really focus on a lot of the cool stuff that I get to do that no one will be able to do. The next show I'm doing is the Arnold. And
Arnold Columbus?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Columbus and Australia.
Okay.
And I think I'm obviously, you can't win the Arnold your first time, but I plan on killing it. And just the fact that Arnold's going to be watching someone who's a son of a guy who beat him, like, that's just cool ass shit.
Yeah.
But you have to be a really old school fan of the sport to kind of even appreciate. Unfortunately, a lot of people have only followed bodybuilding since Jay Cutler, and they're not going to see things how I see them. And that's why I come off differently to some people. And I just don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
It's okay, man. I think you're right. I think a lot of people are new to bodybuilding just because I think with social media and everything, it's become more popular to get in the gym and do your thing. But I think the people that do actually get immersed, like, for example, this guy came up to me at the gym just the other day, and he doesn't, you know, he's been working out, but he just looks like a regular guy. He's not even fit. He just looks like a normal dude. And he starts going on about Kai and Phil and this, and I'm like, this guy,
like he knows them.
He was going on about Dennis Wolf. I'm like, Dennis Wolf hasn't competed in like 3 years. How the fuck does he know Dennis Wolf? So he's just going on about everybody. But it's like he told me at the very start of the conversation, I just started following bodybuilding. So I feel like the people that are really interested in the sport will do their research. Oh, that's Sergio. Oh, that's Sergio Oliva's son, blah, blah, blah. And they'll figure it out and they'll make all the connections. And then it will be as cool as you think it will be when you're standing on Arnold's stage. You know what I mean? That's pretty powerful shit. Like,
yeah, I think so. Right. Exactly.
So what, I got a question for you. When I saw you in Chicago a few years back, you still there?
Yeah.
Sorry. I saw you in Chicago a few years back. You were like, I think it was before you got your pro card, right? Or was it after you got your pro card? Do you remember when I guest posed in Chicago?
I think it was right. It was right after. Right after, yeah.
Okay,
I was guest posing, right?
Yeah, that's right. So you were like a certain size, and then you stepped on stage in New York like a totally different animal. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. Aceto seems to think that I do better when my life's falling apart. He really he swears by it. And last year was my chance to prove that that's not true. I had a sponsor. I finally didn't have to worry about my financial, status, and I didn't win. I didn't win Chicago or Tampa. So yeah. I don't know. Maybe I do need things to be falling apart where I literally feel like this workout or this cardio session or this meal is to save my life. And getting ready for New York. At the time, my wife was, stuck in Australia, so I was fighting to be able to make enough money for immigration and pay my bills and literally, be able to continue my career. Because I don't know how I don't know how my career would have went if that show didn't go that well. I try not to think about it as much as I do, but I mean, just having no money, buying a one-way ticket out there, and just I had no plan B past once they not announce what the placings are.
But that's why.
And I think that's why.
That is.
But if it went the other way, and this is how the sport is, I think in the sport there's a lot of people that would have been Mr. Olympias and we never even knew about them. I could sit here and name
one.
What's his name? Richard Jones.
Oh yeah. I remember Richard Jones.
Right, he was like
really,
a tall,
really pretty physique. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just people like that. But I feel like sometimes, or Chris Cook was like a really big.
Chris Cook was
the next Jay Cutler. But then they have these things that happen to them behind closed doors, and it just, I feel like we have paths, and you have a fork, and it goes the other way.
Yeah.
And if I had lost, I would have for sure not had any money to fly back home. I would have had my power was turned off. I had no money to pay my bills. I don't know. I probably would have had to gone back to school. I probably would have had to have got a real career. Yeah. And then it would have been, Serge did one show and then he phased out and he never lived up to his potential, when it really was just other stuff that had nothing to do with bodybuilding. But if I told this story that I'm going to go into the show full broke, and I lost, then I'm an idiot. Because I've said it to people. I've met people, just like how you met that guy in the gym. I've met people in the gym where they'll come up to me and they're like, man, I know I'm going to be a pro and my wife doesn't believe in me, so I left her, or my job didn't want to support me, so I quit. Like, no, you're an idiot. No, you're dumb, because now you have no wife and you have no job and you have no pro card. So if I did do that and I lost, I would have been an idiot. But because I made it, now that was a great idea. And, it's
okay.
just,
But between me and you, outside of what people say, who gives a shit what people say? Because to some people, even if you're a successful bodybuilder, you're still an idiot just for bodybuilding. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people say. But I really believe the fact that there was no, and I'm not advocating this to anybody. The fact that you had no plan B, I think, is why you won.
Yeah, I think
because anybody I know who's been extremely successful in this sport has kind of left themselves no way out.
Right, vulnerable. Right.
Yeah. Right. So like when I was coming up, I was in university, and I'm like, I got to do this bodybuilding thing. So I quit university. So now, and that's probably the only regret I have in my life, because I wish I would have finished. I had already done 2 years, and I kind of closed that door. I'm like, if you don't have a university degree, it's kind of hard to get a good job. So I kind of shut that door on myself. And then I was also working an executive position, a sales position at a company. I was making good money, company car, company gas card, company computer and phone, the whole bit. One day they walk in my office and they're like, look, we can't have you going into meetings at 280 pounds. You got to lose some weight and like scale down, and you can't really do this bodybuilding thing. And I'm like, okay, I quit. They're like, what? And I'm like, I'm out. And I just fucking left. It was my brother's company.
Shit.
Yeah. My brother's like, you're going to fucking quit? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. So I left, and then I think I won my class at the nationals 2 years in a row. And then the third year I was 27, and I'm like, okay, this is it. If I don't win this year, I'm going to pack it in. But I had closed all the doors. Like at that time I was managing a strip club. It was like just a shitty, just a shit life, yeah. Right? Like not a shit life, but like not a respectable life. So I'm like, I closed all the doors, and I made sure like that was the only way. And if it wasn't the only way, I was going to be a failure. And it ended up working out. And it's kind of like, I always tell people, I'm like, if you have a plan B, you're not going to give it everything you got. And I think that's why you probably looked as good as you looked in New York, because you knew you had nothing left.
Right.
It was the only way. By the way,
right.
I just want to tell you that posing routine. I've wanted to use that song since I wanted to use that song since I started fucking bodybuilding. I've never had the courage to. Because I'm like, nobody's going to fucking get up and hype for fucking Dave
Matthews Band. Exactly.
But the fucking routine you put together was like, went with it perfectly. So very, very impressive shit.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
So I want to ask you a couple more questions, and then maybe some X's and O's, just because people like that shit. But what do you feel like doing this show single is the answer to figuring yourself out?
No, but since I've never done it, I'll at least have the answer. I'll at least be able to have answers for both. Okay, the reason I'm asking you that, and please don't take this the wrong way, when I see your persona online, it seems like somebody who's happy, somebody who loves bodybuilding, but somebody who hasn't fully figured themselves out. Yeah, I can agree with that. But I have.
You have?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Last year was the worst year of my entire life. And after the Olympia, I just had to make it to the Olympia, and I was glad I was there, and that was an experience, and that's like a whole nother subject. But after it, I was done. I was so burned out. I just literally got on a plane. I went to Australia, and I left for months.
Yeah.
And I think once I was able to take myself away from bodybuilding and even America, I now know what I want and what I need, and I have figured out what's really going to make me happy. I just have a few things I would like to figure out in my life, like how would it have gone if this went this way? And I don't have those answers.
Like what? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, like me being able to do a show without someone.
You've always done a show with a girlfriend?
Always. So I would want to see how it is. And it might not be better, and it's probably not going to be better. Everyone needs a partner to do this.
Yeah.
But at least I can say I did it once.
Yeah.
And I think that's more what it is. I'm more trying to just figure out answers to certain what ifs that I don't want bothering me forever.
Your loyalty to Chris seems second to none.
Yeah, Chris is a genius when it comes to doing diets, but I can never leave Chris because I don't think there's anyone who has more anxiety and more stress going into a show than I do. I'm literally
I might be able to tie you on that one, man. I'm a fucking train wreck. Before
okay.
Ask Hani.
At least you'll get it.
Listen, Hani says to my training partner's chronic. Well, I shouldn't say that. Okay. So when I was working with Hani, like back in like 2011, I was getting ready for the Arnold's, and I'm freaking out. I'm just I don't know why. I don't know what it is. You know, the anxious feeling that you're talking about.
Right.
Can't even explain it to people. It's just, you're just always like looking in the mirror. You're like, is this look okay? Is that okay? Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? And Hani looks at my buddy and he's like, does he fucking smoke weed? And my training partner's like, no. And he's like, he fucking should. He's like, this is great. And it wasn't soon after that me and Hani stopped working together. And I'm not sure. I don't know if Hani could handle it. It was just so much. And I feel like maybe you're right, because I did work with Chris for a little while, and he kind of seems to know how to like navigate that shit a little bit.
Yeah, I think because he does. Cedric's another one I know who's got really bad anxieties too, and I think maybe because he has just trained with the cream of the crop of that particular subject, that he just knows how to deal with it, or that's just his personality and how he is. But whatever it is, as soon as I can just see him, I'm good. Like, I just relax. I mean, New York, man, I was just crying. There's so much that went into New York. We could do a whole episode just on New York. There's so much shit I've never even told people.
Yeah.
But I thought I wasn't even going to be able to do the show. I thought I had fucked my leg up and I had a horrible infection. But either way, as soon as I just see him, man, his monotone. He's so calm, and I think he's just so confident in himself and you or me that it just makes you be confident in yourself. And he's really been there. He's been there for me a lot, and that's why it's really crazy with all this Bonock Neil shit that's coming out, where how Neil's talking about how he's done this for Bonock and got him this and got him that he should get something in return. Chris has done everything Neil has said, getting me sponsors, getting me money, whatever it is, getting me back on my feet, and still won't even take a free dinner.
Yeah.
So he is rare. There's a lot of rare people like that. And I'm not saying people should be like that, because it would be the same thing like what we were just talking about in the beginning, where those people get screwed over. Generally.
Well, yes and no. I mean, a coach client, like me and John are friends. Like, John for me is like Chris for you. Okay. Because and people ask me, well, who's the best coach? I'm like, the best coach it's a synergy between the athlete. There's no such thing as the best coach.
No.
There's who's the best coach for you. And that's that same thing that you get from Chris is the same thing I get from John. When I'm freaking out and I call John, he's got the same calming voice and confidence that just like, okay, he says everything's fine, everything's going to be fine. So it's that thing. But me and John have been, we've become friends now. So like, money's not really a thing with him and me. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? So I've kind of been taken back by this whole thing. I couldn't believe Bonac was paying him, because isn't Bonac more like an advertisement for fucking Neil?
Right. I thought that's how it works.
That's how I thought it worked. I thought it worked like this. If you're at fucking top 3 at the Olympia, you're my advertisement, and I'm lucky to have you. Because
right.
I can
and now all these people are going to want to do their diets with you.
That's right. People only know who Neil is because of Flex and William.
That's it.
So I'm like, why would you make the guys pay? Look, I have some online coaching. I'm not anywhere Neil's level. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just a fucking low level amateur coach. I don't even like doing it. I do it here and there, whatever. The point I'm the same. I don't have the patience for it. So, but no, the point I'm trying to make is, if I had somebody of William's stature or Flex Lewis's stature, they wouldn't be paying me. I had an athlete like that last year. He was good enough to get his pro card. He took second at the Arnold's. He was one spot away from getting his card. I didn't charge him, because I'm like, that guy's my fucking advertisement. As soon as he gets his pro card, 10 kids are going to come running over to sign up with me. So I couldn't fathom the fact that, and plus Neil was talking about it like it was he was saying, well, it started as 20% and 20%, blah, 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 all this shit. But 20% of winning a show when William was winning like the small shows, 20% is $2,000.
Right.
20% of the fucking Olympia, you know what I mean? That's a lot of fucking money. It's not, it doesn't, you can't go by percentages. That's fucking crazy. Cause like if he wins the Olympia, that's $400,000. That means you're taking fucking $80,000.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
That's crazy. So I don't know. I don't know if you want to get too much into it. I don't want to say too much, but I actually think whatever their deal was, Neil should have been training him for free because William's an advertisement for him. Yeah.
And there are people that do that like that. I know Chad doesn't charge some people. I know when I was with George, you know, as many issues as George has, he didn't charge me when I did USAs with him.
Yeah.
Because you should be a good enough businessman to understand what you're going to get from doing them. But there lies the same issue, and it kind of covers every topic. Whenever we think people think like us, that's when we get confused. And not everybody thinks logically or like us, or maybe we're raised like we were.
But time out. I'm not saying it should be an unwritten rule. I'm saying William should have written it like that.
Yeah. No. I mean, you can talk about how William should
have pulled him aside when he started cracking the top 6 and been like, look, man, like I can still give you a few grand here and there for helping me, but like I'm your fucking sales pitch.
I think he did. I think he hinted at that where he said once he brought it up to him, Neil started treating him differently. He said that in his rant. So I'm sure this isn't the first time Neil's heard about it on his Instagram story.
Yeah.
But yes, him letting it go for that long ride. I mean, you can go back and forth about how you're only in that position because you let yourself be in that position. But I liked how he said, if I eat, you eat. And I do think like that. I'm really like that too. So I can see how, I mean, his career did skyrocket for a little while there. But him showing how he's living, and we all see Neil's place, it would just be tough to swallow if I was Bonox. So maybe this was the tipping point. But it is giving light to what's going on in the industry, because in social media days, the athletes are destroyed. We get ripped apart left and right.
Yeah.
But the sponsors can fucking screw people over left and right, and you never even hear about it. These coaches are robbing people. But so I'm glad that now other people are now being brought to light, because there's a lot of shystiness that's going on. And sometimes people are stuck. Sometimes, what if this is him doing it right before the Olympia? That's ballsy.
I was going to say that too, because now if he doesn't look as good as he should, it's a lot of pressure, man. It's like
for sure. So, but exactly. I'm glad. I mean, and Bonox, and I'll tell you this, Bonox doesn't lie. Bonox not.
No, and that's the one thing. I saw somebody write, well, we got to get Neil's side of the story, and I'm like, yeah, that's true, but anytime I've heard William speak, which is not often, it seems like it's the real shit. He's not speaking just to speak. He speaks when he has something to say.
Yeah, right. I remember when he flipped out at the press conference like
that was
2 years ago. That was so nuts. Oh my God.
He lost it on Cedric, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like,
no, Cedric was this year's or last year.
Oh, that's right.
This was it was like 2 or 3 years ago. And again, he was talking about something that is really important. Your spouse is a big deal in the sport. Yeah. And I think Bob or someone had made a joke and people started laughing. And then that's when he flipped out and was like, you don't know shit. It's a mother.
I don't remember that.
Kid. Yeah, it was just so awkward where like Bob was just like, so. And
then he went off on fucking Louis Marco. I thought that was great.
Oh my God.
Remember that?
Yes, but I love that. I love shit like that because I want to. I want to do that. But I think have to not.
I think that's why we all liked it, because we're like, yeah, somebody punched that guy in the fucking head. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. But that guy, not to keep going about these social media people, but that's a perfect example. This guy's only been to one competition in his life.
Yeah.
And people are going to this person for their opinion. And I get Sean Ray blocked me on social media one time because I was saying that whenever we do comparisons on social media, why are they always the same height? You know, because it's a picture and a picture. So yes, Hadi looks like he could beat Ronnie Coleman by himself.
That's right.
So, and that's a really big issue that's going on social media. And I'll always be the first to comment, oh, I didn't know that the 212 guy was the same height as someone 5'11". Because in person, you have to go to a show. And I recommend this to anyone. If you really want to be a true fan of the sport, just go to one show. It doesn't, even just the Olympia, you know, so you can see the cream of the crop. But in person, the stature is not something that you can put on a picture, on a comparison photo.
Well, and it's 2D versus 3D. It's very simple. Like I competed in Toronto in 2013 or 14. Okay, 13, I think. Against it was Victor Martinez won. I was second place, and De La Rosa was third, I think. And after the show, people kept coming up to me going, "Man, you beat Victor. Look at the pictures. You beat Victor." I'm like, "You guys don't get it." You guys don't get it. The guy is like a fucking balloon on top of a balloon on top of a balloon. Like he's fucking 3D beyond 3D. He's so fucking thick. I'm like, you can't. Yeah, if you stand in a picture, I'm wider because it's 2D. You're only seeing the width of my shoulders or whatever, right? But when you fucking turn him sideways, it's like the hamstrings popping off the fucking from the glute, and the fucking back is popping off the rear delt, and it's like you can't see that in a photo. And I said this about Hadi actually with Luke the other day in our podcast. We were talking about Hadi because Chad put up a picture of Hadi and said he's the greatest bodybuilder on earth right now.
Nichols said that.
Yeah, which was shocking because Chad's usually more measured in his comments.
Absolutely, right.
And I thought, that's a really bold statement. I'm like, he looks really, really good. I'll give him that. But I don't know if he could beat some of the top 6. Like, I want to see him next to Brandon Curry or next to so-and-so before I'm going to make that claim. You know what I mean?
At least once, right.
Like that's a big statement to make with never seeing somebody next to that guy.
Yeah, I'm really shocked he would say that, especially someone who does know the largest human being ever to do this sport.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, I mean, Hadi's got a special set of tools. Like, he's really thick. He gets in really, really good shape. His proportions are really good. But, I mean, like I said, until you see them next to each other. Right. I have another question.
Shoot.
An overall question. I get the sense that you dislike the social media age. Is that true? Or are you just...
Yeah, I know. I go back and forth with this all the time because, man, you do meet such amazing people, and you really can change some people's lives. I've literally changed people's lives by even either from anywhere from prepping them and meeting them to even just messaging them back or giving them one tip. I feel like it's a big thing where now bodybuilders need to be paid to just say, hey, why don't you focus on your eating more instead of worrying about the drugs or something like that, where someone's never told them that before. So there is so much good that comes out of social media. But again, I have so much old school blood in me that I can't not hate social media, especially Instagram. And I do. I hate it so much. I hate it because people are making more money and do nothing. There's so many frauds out there. I mean, you look at Sean Roden when he did his guest posing and he got ripped apart.
Yeah.
People don't even realize all these ebook guys and all these like just on stage people, they're only in shape for a few months.
Like the fitness model people,
Yeah, and they take a gazillion pictures and they can post those pictures for the next 2 years. And then they're like, oh my God, they're staying like that all year round. So if they can do it, why can't Sean Roden do it? You know? And it's just immediately like undermining actual real athletes. And no matter what, it doesn't matter if it's jealousy or whatever it is. It's hard for me to swallow seeing me struggle or look at Bonak's house. And then I see Gat drops me and Zach Ansley, the men's physique guy, buys an M8, you know, like BMW. Yeah. It's just, it's just so off that it can't not bother me. And I also know that this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I don't plan on eventually turning into some ebook guy later on in my career. I'm going to do shows, and then I'm going to retire, and then I probably will be covering shows and stuff like that, but that's it.
Yeah.
So I know your follow or your like isn't going to help me on stage, and telling people that, it kills them. When I'm up on stage and I'm standing next to these largest human beings on the planet, no judge is going to say, well, man, that selfie that he posted, you know, it's, and they don't get it. So I think because I know at the end of the day, it doesn't help me on stage. It's only going to help me with sponsors. And I fucking can't even keep a goddamn sponsor anyway, that I don't care anymore.
But wait a minute. Do you get any? Okay, I've learned to use Instagram almost like a fucking journal. Okay.
I like that it keeps track of, right, because if you go back, you can literally see my career, because Labrada forced me to get an Instagram. I used to be anti even Facebook. They forced me to get one. So yeah, you can literally see me, you know, as an amateur.
But not for like X's and O's reasons, more just for fun. Like I almost just, you know, I post picture of me and my wife, or I post picture of this or that or whatever. I guess in the beginning, I kind of hated it a bit because I focused too much on the trolls.
Right.
So it was just, I think I've blocked all of them now. I think I've blocked like over 3,000 people. So I don't know, but like,
that's probably what I need to do. My issue is I love my haters. They're actually my favorite. They're my favorite followers.
Why?
Because I get off, for some reason, I get off on making people look like fools rather than people telling me that I'm great. You know, I don't know. I'm stuck.
No. Wait a minute. I'm not saying I want only people who tell me I'm great. I don't mind people come on and have constructive criticism or that, but like, I'm talking trolls who are like, you're a fucking asshole, bro. And I'm like, okay, well, there's just no point in having you on here. So I block them. I'm like, what's the point? You keep those people?
Not the ones that just say pointless stuff. Like, that's just pointless. But the ones that tell me I'm never going to do something.
Yeah.
Or you'll never, I love them. I love
them. I don't think I block those people. Maybe if I'm like in a prep and I'm pissed off.
Yeah, but your videos, you're different too. You also have a lot more patience than I do, and your videos are really they're really instructive. They really are. Like, if I didn't know much about working out, let alone bodybuilding, I could follow you and I would learn from that.
Yeah,
you're not really going to learn anything from my Instagram. I'm just not. So yours is different, and your relationship is literally goals. And it's very rare.
Goals. I almost slept on the couch last night. Don't say that.
Bro, you and Summer are goals. Like, I always talk about you guys all the time. They probably think I'm like obsessed with you guys. But yeah, I think maybe because you're also happier in your own life too, that's why social media means something different to you. I feel like I'm still having to prove stuff. Even though
listen,
I don't have to.
Honestly, Sergio, things you see online are not always what they really are, right? Like,
it's true.
It's not that I'm trying to hide anything. I'm as real as I can be, but there's certain emotions that you have that you just can't portray in a photo. Like, it's just not going to come out, right? So like, you feel like you have something to prove. Trust me, even though my career is, you know, closer to the end, we still have things that I want to prove in a different sense, right? So it's never, it's not like, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not like, oh, I'm so happy and my life is so perfect that I can be on Instagram every day. I guess I just learned somewhere along the way to like, I just focus on like the better part of it. And I've learned to interact with people and almost make them like friends on Instagram. That way it's just like it's building an interaction. It's building like a better fan base that way. So I don't know, but it's not because my life is so perfect that I'm like, it's okay. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Overall, you are for or against? Like, are you going to keep your Instagram, or are you?
No, I'm gonna keep it because, like you said, no matter what, it's a timeline of my life, and that's really cool. And I hate this, but I always have to specify that I do love my fans, and I'm probably one of the only pros that literally answers every single DM, except for the creeps. I literally will message something back, even if it's just an emoji, something.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So because also too, I was the kid waiting in line hours to meet people when I was, and I think that's a big difference. You had Compton on. Compton said he had never been to an expo before he was a pro. That's wild to me.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like I have been waiting. I remember so many times I'm waiting in line for like an hour or two.
Yep.
Just when I'm about to like see them, oh, sorry, that person's gonna go on lunch, you know. And I've been that guy.
Yeah.
Or I've met people and they don't even look at me. They just sign in the picture and they just slide it next, you know. So I think because I've grown up being a fan, I'm so worried about being that guy that I do make a point to be there for my fans. So, but if it's one or the other, keeper, do I like or dislike? I dislike it because no matter what, it's ruining our industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that point of view for sure. Let's get on some quick hitters just because there are bodybuilding fans that want to know about actual bodybuilding stuff. So let's start with this. Cardio or no cardio? How do you feel?
For prep?
All year round. What do you think, off-season cardio or no cardio?
See, I'm different. So I started this when I started bodybuilding when I was 145 pounds. I did the Olympia at 273. So my body just wants to go back to a straight Somalian skinny kid.
Yeah.
So I can't do cardio in the off season.
Okay.
But for prep, that's why I can get my glutes the way they are. I do 2 hours of stairs a day.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Diet. Are you high fats, low fats?
Off season.
Off season.
Off season, I have to try and overly eat extremely. Yeah. Like I literally look up what are the worst places to eat, and I go eat there. So I don't even worry about fats. I just worry about as many calories as I can possibly intake.
Okay, wait a minute. So what does a day look like? Do you have a base? Like, do you have 5 or 6 meals that are like clean? Or
no,
are you just?
I'm trying to eat as dirty as possible. I'm trying to shoot to like 9,000 a day.
Okay, so give me one example of like a meal that you had today.
Lasagna and chicken.
Really? That's a standard meal.
Yeah.
Fuck. Didn't that picture you put up recently?
Yeah, just something really.
Didn't you put up a picture recently at 305?
Oh, yeah.
Is that 300?
Yeah, but that's a most muscular. Yeah, that's a most muscular. Everyone looks good and most muscular. And that lighting in that gym, everybody looks like they're in shape.
Okay, nobody looks like that.
Credit.
Okay. Nobody, fuck off, man. Nobody looks like that at 305. I don't care what the lighting's like. I don't care what pose it is. That's fucking crazy, man. Okay.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
So your metabolism is nuts. So your food advice is not going to be valid for the majority of people on Earth. Okay. Last question. Yeah. You can answer or throw away, whatever you want to do. Gear. Do you want to talk about gear or no?
Yeah, it's fine. I think that's the problem with gear is that nobody's talking about it. So
that's exactly.
We're just figuring it out.
That's exactly my point. And I don't want to get into like specifics. I guess all I want to do is say, from the people you know, and maybe if you want to touch on your own experience, what is a average test level for guys like us? Don't try and think of the right answer. Just
2,000.
2,000. That's what you've been kind of told.
Yeah.
Or what you're hearing. Okay.
Yeah. Well, not told. That's. I know that guys are higher than me. I'm on the low spectrum. Not only is aceto the bare minimum, I'm also the bare minimum too. I feel like as long as I'm getting results from something, I usually don't change things up.
Okay.
Another benefit of the genetics.
So let me ask you this then: in the off season, you probably don't take any cutting drugs in the off season.
No.
You're not using any like fucking Winstrals or Antivars or any of that shit, obviously.
No way.
Right. Okay. What about?
I can't even do any water-based injectables. I get really sick.
Okay. What about orals? Are you dealing with any types of orals in the off season, like Anadrol, D-ball, anything like that? I generally
D-ball just because it makes me fatter. Yeah.
Oh, it helps you hold weight. Does it mess with your appetite at all?
Yeah, severely.
So how do you deal with that? Do you cycle it like on and off, like short periods, or how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I force it. I force the meal. Sometimes I'm chewing meals and drinking it down like a vitamin.
I've been there before.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything, any gear? What do you think about SARMs? People have asked me that question. What do you think about SARMs?
I took it one time, and it actually turned off my sweat in my body.
Really?
And it made me Fouad, there's only been a few things I've gone through in my life that are maybe want to kill myself, and this was one of them. And I just could not figure out why I would get this itching feeling all over my body that I wouldn't even leave my house. And the first half hour of every gym session, I just am walking around the gym, like itching until I could finally break a sweat.
Holy fuck.
So it literally, it turned it off. Yeah.
Oh my God. What SARM? Do you remember? Do you remember which one?
It was like an HGH releaser, but I was only taking it because it made you hungry.
Oh, I think you're talking about MK 677 or something like that. But
yeah, right. So I was eating, but I was afraid to leave my house. It was horrible. I went to 3 different doctors.
What do you think? What do you think we can do as an industry to keep people like some of the names I mentioned from steering these little kids into stuff that's not real? Like, what do you think we can do about people like Boston Lloyd and Tony Huge and all telling people nonsense that's going to hurt them? How do we fix that?
We have to figure out a way where the actual professionals can talk about what they're doing. That's going to be the only way. You know, as long as you explain, you're going to the doctor and you get your levels checked and you got to do it right. But until the guys that are winning shows or actually even placing in shows start talking about it, they're going to be the only ones giving information to these people. And that's all they have.
Yeah. How do we do it without hurting ourselves?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the tricky part.
You know what I mean? Because I want to be specific, but then you're like, you got to be careful.
Of course, right.
I don't want any kids to like hear us and then, you know, go get hurt or whatever. So I just, you know, I'm doing this because I want the sport to be a better thing for everybody. So I'm just talking to you guys to try and figure out what you guys think about ways we can make it better for the people watching and people listening and give them more information.
I mean, I think this, like a podcast like this already makes a huge difference. You have a bunch of actual legitimate pros on here and discuss, not argue, not my way's better, this is better, but actually like compare notes and have people listen to an actual conversation of a bunch of pros. I think that would be huge. I think people would eat that shit up. If you had Luke and all the people you've already had on the show all at the same time talking about it, I think it would just overshadow all the other underground people.
Would you come back on for a group podcast and we'll do like a compare notes like you said? Would you do that like in the future?
Yeah, of course I would. Absolutely.
Okay. Because I think people, you know, you're a big name in the sport and I think people respect what you're doing and they're looking for you to do big things. And I think your opinion matters.
Thanks,
so,
Fouad.
You know what I mean? I think it's important to have, to me, you represent the next generation. So how old are you right now?
Yeah, it's weird. I've only been a pro for a few years, but yeah, I'm still 34. I'm not young.
Yeah, so I know you're not young, but somehow I still see you as being the next crop of big time or big name pros or top 6 Olympians. So I mean, you have a big mantle to carry. But
thanks. Yeah, I think in the future it is going to be me and Luke and Nathan.
Yep.
I think there would actually be a lot more if a lot of these classic guys that are like 6 foot would get their foot out of their ass.
Doesn't that bother you? Does that bother you when you see that? Well, it doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother you because you have genetics. I don't have great genetics. So when I see somebody like Chris Bumstead, I'm like, that guy would be a great bodybuilder.
I say it and they attack me, but these guys are literally losing muscle every year to stay in the class.
Yeah, but I don't know why they would attack you. Like, I'm not saying anything negative. I'm actually giving them a compliment.
Right.
It's a compliment to say, look, I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong. They can stay in classic. I mean, it's great. If you're, you know, he's second in the world right now. All I'm saying is that guy's got the genetics to be a good bodybuilder. That's not a negative comment. That's a positive. So
All I've been saying is if there was no classic division, we would have a lot of up and coming pros that are going to be really sick. And this is what I told, and this is why the whole Regan thing got out of control, because people forgot me and Regan were friends. And Regan was at my house with Cody.
Yeah.
And I told both of them, you could literally take 10 years off, come back, and you would be my age. And instead of you now worrying about you're not as big as Rolly or Rami or Phil, they're going to be retiring. And now we will be the crop that people are saying, I want to look like Regan. I want to look like these people. But now in social media days, people have fans that don't understand losses. And I talked about this. I did an MD interview about how I would actually rather take a top 3 at an Arnold than beat De La Rosa at a New York. So sometimes wins make people feel like they're better than they are when you could have beat no one.
Yeah.
Everyone swears about how Regan won the New York Pro. What's the name of the guy who got second place? Nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. And in fact, he's the guy who took off his medal in Pittsburgh and threw it. You were going to win against that guy anyway. So, but again, how I look at bodybuilding, how people look at bodybuilding are different. So I would rather take losses like Dexter. Dexter got his ass handed to him his whole career. And then for a good part, he never lost.
Yeah.
So would you rather win all in the beginning of your career, get a million followers, but then you're kind of the same weight, you didn't really get any bigger, you never reached your potential, or be at the bottom, get your ass handed to you, and when these guys retire, now you're at the top, and now you've put on so much muscle slowly, you could change the future of the sport. But then again, I look at things different.
I don't think, I was just going to say that. I don't think you're wrong. I think it's just two different mindsets. To Reagan, I think Reagan's looking at it like a business where he's like, I got my agent, and my agent has these sponsors set up for me, and I got 1 million followers, and those followers are my fans, and they're going to support me by buying my stuff, blah, 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 blah. So I can do that. And that, I think that even though I think he wants to win, I don't, me and him are friends, but not like real close. But even though I think he wants to win and wants to be great and all those things, I think the business side of it's probably important to him as well. And I think that's why he's at it the way he is. Right. So,
of course.
But I do agree with you. I said to Luke in our podcast, I said, because we were talking about Nathan and how Nathan had won a bunch of shows, and that meant he was better than Luke. And I said, maybe. I said, I don't know. I'm like, you took second or third. You took third at the Arnold's. I'm like, right. That's a big deal, man. I'm like, it's not. I'm like, so he won a bunch of small shows. That's that's great, but it's not third at the Arnold.
Yeah, it's money now, and that's what it is. It's money now over glory later. And Nathan is banking on those $10,000 shows.
Yeah.
But 10 years from now, who was second place at that British Grand Prix? I don't know. I don't fucking know that guy's name, Yeah. So it's just, what are people thinking about? They thinking about the now, or are they thinking about later? I would like to be remembered in the sport for the next 50 years and not make any money.
So you're saying your philosophy is more, I would rather not be known and then win 5 Olympias than be known for 20 years.
Right. Look at Ronnie. He was a joke. Everyone should watch the Flex Wheeler documentary that was made. And it really shows their opinion of what they thought of him. He was a joke. They literally told him, Kevin told Ronnie, why are you even coming to these shows?
Yeah.
And the whole time he was just doing his homework, studying, stealing their ideas. Yeah. And then now look, now we're going to remember Ronnie forever.
Yeah.
And what's that price? What is that?
So by digging down in this podcast, I've come to realize that your motivation is legacy and not business.
Yeah. Yeah. People ask me this all the time. Are you sure you want to do this? What if you ended up like Ronnie Coleman? And I know this is crazy, but if I knew that I was going to end up like Ronnie Coleman, handicapped, I still would.
I say the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, that guy, we all do this for, I know the politically correct thing is to say, I don't do it for glory, man. Fuck that shit. If I could win the Olympia and be the best in the fucking world, yeah, I want that glory. I want to be recognized for my fucking hard work. And Ronnie will be recognized for the rest of eternity for his fucking hard work.
Right. A certain few guys are literally a timeline of our sport.
That's
You
right.
can see where it was, what the criteria was. And for the Arnold too. I think the Arnold is another thing. I don't even think about the Olympia. I think that's so like crazy in the future.
Yeah.
But being able to be an Arnold Classic champion, that's
It's up there.
For me too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely up there.
Right.
So that's crazy. I never knew that. I didn't know there was anybody in our sport still that thought like that. That was like, you know what? I don't care about the dollars and cents. I just want the best possible outcome for myself when I'm finished.
Yeah, that's what Jeremy's big gripe is when he always wants to go off on me about is how his bank account and he's driving a Lambo. Man, I don't know. I think we just have different goals, and I think I was raised different, and I think being raised literally born on stage practically. I think I just look at certain things like people got crazy when I said when I won New York, it wasn't that big of a deal because I beat De La Rosa and Juan. Yes, I have that ring, and that's Night of Champions history, and I will be remembered in that line forever. But if I did it the year before, it was Dexter, Rolly, Nathan, Kuklo. Now, if I had won that show, I would have whipped my dick out and slapped everybody with it. But I know I didn't beat anyone I already didn't think I could have beat before. I had already beat Juan before when we were younger, so it's how I look at wins is just different than other people. I'd rather beat better people than take first places against nobody.
You've seen the movie Troy?
Yeah.
You remind me of Brad Pitt and Troy.
I probably will end up like him too.
Oh no, because remember the part in the movie where he's gonna kill the good guy, like the best guy of the good team.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, why don't you kill me right now? And he's like, because he's like, nobody will see me now. He's like, I'm gonna wait until everybody can see us, right? So
it's so true.
It's almost like that's what you're saying. Like a win is cool, but a win is better when it's on a grander stage.
Someone was just asking me about Kai coming back now that the Olympia's open. And I was saying, if it was me, there's just going to be an asterisk next to this. If he wins, what are people going to say?
I've thought that too.
Who did you beat?
Yeah. I've thought.
So if I was finally going to come back, why do it when nobody? It's almost like the year people don't remember this. A long time ago, the Olympia was boycotted after Arnold won, and nobody showed up. It was like a few guys entered, and the person who won that I think was Chris Dickerson.
Yeah. Oh, is that year?
I think that was the year he won. But either way, everybody was like, "Well, yeah, there was nobody there." It was just like it was like a consolation prize.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. I've thought about the Kai Green thing as well, and it's not that it's not a big deal. He's still got to beat some good bodybuilders, but I think for him personally, the glory was in beating Phil.
Right.
Because it's almost like Phil was his nemesis. So it's kind of like if he can't beat Phil, it's not really winning the Olympia. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like when Jay took out Ronnie finally.
Right. He took him out. Ronnie
That's right.
didn't retire. Right.
That's right. So Jay got his glory. And if you listen to some of his interviews, he'll even say that was his favorite Olympia because he got to beat Ronnie. So I almost feel like people are talking about Kai coming back, but I don't think he's going to come back because Phil's not there. I think he wants to beat Phil.
Or the guy who beat Phil. That would have been fine if Kai would have beat Sean.
Yeah.
It would have been decent. But and again too, I'm not like undermining the people that he would
No.
All those people would beat both of our asses.
I'm
just saying if I was Kai.
No, yeah. I'm talking about it in a sense of on a emotional level. I think Kai had a thing with Phil. He had to get over that hurdle, and now that hurdle's not there. So it might not mean as much to him, you know what I mean? So do you want to say anything or portray any message or thank anybody before we go off, dude? I don't want to keep you too long.
No, the people that helped me, they know that I couldn't do this without them. I appreciate my Titan Grip sponsor, saying that it's the only one who's sticking with me. It's really hard for a sponsor to stick with a bodybuilder while they have an off season and don't do shows. That's a big gamble for them. You only make notoriety when you do shows. So I appreciate them sticking with me. But no, I don't feel like that's the best part about this podcast. I don't feel like I can say anything you haven't already said or you aren't already admitting with just how you are itself. And I wish everyone on Instagram would watch your podcast.
Appreciate it, man.
Because then it would just make. I don't think we're 100% right, you know, and I don't think anyone else is 100% wrong. I just think it would give people a choice so they could choose between this or that. And I feel like Instagram, it's either just this selfie or this selfie, you know, and you're picking the greater of two evils. And I just wish there was more. And I think that's why me and Luke, we get along too, because there's a few non-bullshitters in this sport and are real, and they're not worried about losing followers or not having people like them. And I wish everybody was like that. I wish people just actually were just, this is how I am, and I'm not going to ever lie. And then you take it or you leave it. But yeah, if we could just understand the difference between athletes and supermodels, I think it would go a huge way.
I think it will. I think as long as I can get you guys to keep coming on the show, because listen, a lot of the DMs I get from these shows are just, I didn't know that about that guy. I didn't know he was so normal. I didn't know he felt like that. And I think that's the real benefit to it, is people just get to see you guys in a different light. It's not an X's and O's interview. It's not 140 characters on Twitter. It's like you get to talk for a little while and people can listen as long as they want, kind of thing. Right. So anyway, bro, listen, I appreciate you coming on. I want to do it again if you have time in the future. We'll do, I think your idea was really good. If we bring on like 3 or 4 people and we kind of like compare some notes about diet, training, whatever else, I think people would like that. So
yeah, it'd be really cool. I just want to thank you. You've really always been in my corner. And you've always supported me. I also want to thank Summer too, because I actually met her before you, and I have like the best story. So one, I have to thank her for dealing with my dad. It was the worst photo shoot ever. It was the one and only time I've ever been in the gym with my dad, and he was such an asshole to her. She was so respectful and she was so great. But I mean, your wife's very beautiful. And I remember I was like a little punk kid, you know. So I'm like, wow, this person running this magazine's hot. And then she's like, oh yeah. She's like, yeah, my husband's a pro. You know, and back then when people say they're a pro, you're not a pro. Like, who's your husband? I remember saying that. Like, who's your husband? Fouad, Abiad. Oh. Shit. So you're saying there's not a chance?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this. I saw the photos afterwards, and you are one of the few people she has oiled up other than myself. So you lucked out that way, I guess. But
yes, so I've made it. I officially retired then.
Listen, man, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate the kind words. And we'll do it again definitely soon if we can.
Definitely. Thanks, bro.
Okay, man. Thank you very much.